I'm someone who's never owned an Apple product. I was never a part of their ecosystem in any way at all. Never had an iPod or an iPhone or even a Mac computer. I think the last time I ever personally used any of their technology was back in the 80s at school playing Number Munchers on an Apple II. Now, for whatever reason, I just never adopted their technology in my own personal life, but that just changed with the Apple TV 4K. So today I wanted to explore if this device also makes a good video game console, as I discovered after buying it that there's a lot more to it than what I initially thought, but I am going to be talking, a little bit about everything with this device. And, especially with things like the Amico coming out, which cost more than this device and being like more underpowered than this device and playing what looks like mostly mobile style games, I thought maybe Apple already has this covered with the casual market, and maybe even more so than just casuals. And one interesting thing I didn't know in the world of gaming is that Apple actually makes more money from gaming sales than Sony, Microsoft, Nintendo, and Activision combined. That is freaking nuts. So, firstly to note, I bought the Apple TV 4K for a specific reason. That reason was to have access to all my streaming services I use for video, to have all the display options that I want and am able to use, like Dolby Vision and audio options like Dolby Atmos. So I've owned tons of different streaming devices in the past, and currently I still have a bunch of them, from different versions of the Amazon Fire Sticks, their little Fire Cube, whatever that was called, a bunch of Roku devices, and probably a bunch of others that I'm not thinking of right now. But for each of these devices that I've used, there was maybe one or two little quirks or things not supported that made me look for an alternative. Now, before we get into the gaming aspect, I want to say I'm not disappointed at all with using the Apple TV for my video streaming. It supports every service that I use and tons more with all the features that I want, and everything looks and sounds great. So I recently got the Sony HT-A7000 soundbar and subwoofer, and it shines with the Apple TV 4K. Way better quality than any of the other devices I was using to stream content. It just works great with the Apple TV. Now, I also had built-in apps on several of my smart TVs, but the main one I was using, even though the apps, some of them would support Dolby Atmos, like that's how they should be, through the smart TV version of the application, it just wasn't in line with those features. Like a big one is Disney Plus. Disney Plus supports Dolby Atmos, but through one of my TVs that I was trying to use with this Sony setup, you don't get Dolby Atmos at all. But through the Apple TV, everything works just the way I hoped and wanted. So while unboxing the Apple TV 4K, I did discover that these cheap bastards didn't include an HDMI cable. I mean, they give you everything else you need besides the thing that interfaces with your TV. I mean, I find that weird, but whatever. I have extras, so it wasn't, anything where I needed to go out and buy another. Not a huge deal, but yeah, like, come on now. So this newest Apple TV, the 4K, the 2021 edition here, comes in two different versions, a 32 gigabyte and a 64 gigabyte. They cost $180 or $200. I got the $200 one, the 64 gigabyte one, because like, okay, double the storage for $20 more. Why not? Now, one of the first things I noticed opening this up and getting everything set up was how premium everything looks and feels. Never in my life have I had a remote control feel so premium. It uses a cable to recharge instead of batteries, so I guess making it a disposable electronic that may need to be replaced at some point, unless your right to repair comes into play and you can find a battery to swap in. I don't know. I haven't dug into that yet, as I shouldn't have to worry about the remote for some time anyway. But also to note is that you can sync up other Bluetooth devices, like a PS5 DualSense controller, and use that instead of the remote, which comes in handy for a lot of these games that I wanted to check out. And you can also just use it to navigate and, select your content you want to use. You can just use a controller instead of the remote. Pretty cool stuff. But that remote that it comes with, the Siri remote, I believe is what it's called, well, it does have that premium feeling and, kind of look to it. It doesn't appear to be the most technically advanced remote in the world, It's definitely not, but it works fine. And it does allow you to use voice for searching and spelling things out. And you have a touch sensitive trackpad that can be used just like the button presses. Like you could use the button presses instead or just the trackpad. But the trackpad, it kind of throws me off a bit. Takes some getting used to, but you can also adjust the sensitivity or just turn it off and not even use it. So that's my thoughts on the remote and the options there. Now, the final thing I want to note about my first impressions was getting this thing set up. It was way more involved for my liking and what I'm typically accustomed to with similar devices. I mean, if you're already in the Apple ecosystem with an Apple ID, an iTunes account, and whatnot, you probably won't relate to this as being a negative. But for somebody who's never used these services or have any Apple products, it kind of sucks that you can't really get everything set up through the Apple TV itself, or even through your phone if you're using an Android phone. I mean, you could do part of it on an Android phone, but you still need to download iTunes on a compatible device and get that set up before your Apple ID is even able to be used on the Apple TV. I mean, easy stuff. It's not rocket science, but it's just kind of annoying. I mean, I personally have no use for iTunes and won't ever use it for anything, but why do I need to have it installed on another device just to use the Apple TV? Especially when I don't plan to have any kind of like sync action going on between the two as far as content. Just kind of strange. I mean, it is what it is, but yeah, I just wanted to note all of that because even after making an Apple ID, signing into the Apple TV with it, I still couldn't download any of my streaming services that I wanted to use. Not until I downloaded iTunes on my PC and used my Apple ID to log into that. But once that was done, I could sign into all the different streaming services that I wanted to use with my pre-existing logins. No problem. Now, via the Apple TV 4K, to play games, there's a few different options that you have available. You could buy individual games off of the App Store. There are plenty of free ones you could buy. Not buy, they're free, but there's plenty of free ones you could play as well. And not everything here feels like your typical mobile game. So that's a plus to me, but you'll still find plenty of that kind of stuff. You can also pay the $5 fee to have access to Apple Arcade, which is similar to like Xbox Game Pass in a sense, and that you don't own these games. You only have access to them while you continue to pay for the subscription. And one thing to note, the Apple TV 4K does come with like a 3-month free trial of the Apple Arcade. So, I mean, you save $15, get it for 3 months type of thing. But you do have to put in you have to go back and put in your credit card information into iTunes to even enable that. So that's one thing to note. Now, another way you could play games is you could use Steam Link. You can download Steam Link off of the App Store and stream games off of your Steam account from a PC. I mean, that's cool, but nothing really special anyway. Just nice to know it's easily accessible if you want to use it. But back to the Apple Arcade anyway. It seems like new games are added to the service almost monthly, maybe a few games here and there. And some are actually really fun. Like the Pac-Man Party game that they have on there, that was a blast. I mean, even though Pac-Man kind of looks a little derpy, it was still a lot of fun. I really enjoyed that one. I could see actually jumping on it after I'm done making this video. It's a cool one. I mean, I like Pac-Man style games, and newer stuff like that's pretty cool, especially when it retains its old school feel but adds a lot of new stuff. I mean, it's a cool one. Then you got stuff like Castlevania Grimoire of Souls, which is a new exclusive game for Apple that just recently came out. It's a neat one. You play as various different characters from the Castlevania history, and it seems fairly fluid. It feels like Castlevania. I mean, it is Castlevania, just more of like a mobile version style, I guess you would say, but it's still very competent and fun, and it holds its own in a way. It's a cool game. Would have been nice if this was like available elsewhere, but it's only on Apple for now anyway. So it's a neat one. You're gonna find stuff like that is exclusive to Apple here and there. Now, I did play a few games offered through the App Store and the Apple Arcade, and some are definitely better than others. I mean, that's just how it's gonna be with anything. But overall, the variety, it seems to capture a good range of genres and styles of gamers out there, so there's a little bit for everyone. You got some like retro stuff like Sonic CD, which is the remastered version by Christian Whitehead. Pretty cool. Some like it, some don't, but you know, it plays fine. You have new takes on classic games like Tetris with Tetris Beat, which is a music game where you play Tetris. It's kind of interesting, not really my thing, but it was pretty cool. And you'll also find a bunch of other stuff that's entirely new. Overall, the variety's pretty decent, but at the same time, I couldn't really say that anything here, for me personally, would be a system seller if you considered the Apple TV 4K as a game console. Playing games on this is just a feature of the device. I mean, plenty of devices can do similar things, but this is within Apple's own ecosystem. I'm not talking about like getting a box and loading up ROMs and stuff like that. I wanted to look at this as its own system with its own games, and it's pretty cool. But yeah, like I said, it can play games in addition to what most people will probably use it for, which is to stream video content. So more of a bonus in that sense. I think it's a cool device that offers a lot of value for the price. It's a quality product, and so far with my experience of using it and using tons of other different devices with similar purposes, this is my favorite. And I never thought I would like say like, hey, this Apple product is my favorite in this like, you know, category type of thing, because I've never been an Apple fan. I've never been somebody against Apple either. Just like I said earlier, for whatever reason, just never really adopted their technology. But yeah, as far as a streaming device goes, with all the features that are included here, with their own games that are accessible here, their own app store type of thing, it's neat. Not something I was accustomed to with the different offerings here. I know with Apple, it's a lot more strict as far as, you know, things getting on the app store versus like Android. So it was kind of a whole different world for me. But it was pretty cool. I mean, it's cool that I can play some games if I want to, but in all honesty, even with it having many familiar franchises through the App Store and, you know, the Apple Arcade, it's be kind of tough for me to say, like, yeah, I'm going to use this as a game console quite often. I mean, I may use it in a fairly limited fashion. Like I said, I do want to go back and play more of that Pac-Man and more of the Castlevania, but I think it'll just depend on what newer stuff gets added. I mean, I was playing Dead Cells on this earlier. I actually bought it on the Apple TV because I was like, you know what? I like Dead Cells, and I've played it quite a bit on the PC and on the Switch. Let me play it on the Apple TV, and it ran pretty damn good. So I guess I could see myself jumping on there, just depending on what's available over time. But there you go. Just wanted to share my experiences with this device, being a new Apple owner in a sense. Like, I'm not going to run out and change everything to Apple. Just this one device is cool, and I really like it. I really like it. So thanks for watching. Let me know what you think down below. Appreciate every single one of you guys. Catch you on the next one.